When you have a person that's disabled, you can't even begin to imagine what their world is like and their reference to the world is like from their point of view and their disability.
You have to educate people on what it's like to have disability and to have to try and sustain yourself in a world that does not want such a thing.
Nobody knew about this workforce until we started organizing, and you can't talk to anybody now that doesn't know about home care.
Every caregiver and every client is different, which makes our profession unique, because there's not going to be, I'd be willing to bet there's not going to be two clients that are going to have the same things that need to be done.
She'd stay in bed all day and let me do this. She loves it. It takes strong arms to do it. It does.
I'm not sure exactly what it means. Me being a caregiver for Becky and the fact that she's also we're domestic partners, must be honest and sincere, because that's going to show through. One of the things that I found with working with her, when I first wake her up in the morning, my job is to get her to smile.
And he
or to
does
laugh.
your job.
Mm-hmm. And then that sets the day. And she can smile a lot, laugh a lot.
Yeah.
And just in her outward appearance, people can tell that she's much, much happier with herself as well as with the relationship.
Take it slow.
She takes me to my medical doctor, my dentist.
Maybe we'll get a couple of these.
She goes shopping for me because I could not do it myself.
We have a lot of fun shopping. We have a good time.
Yes, we do. This is about 2 years. I couldn't do without her, and I wouldn't want to do without her. She's very important to me.
Home care, it gives you a sense of self and lets you go home at night knowing that you've done something good for somebody else. And that if you weren't there to do the work, that they would be in a lot worse situation, whether they'd be put into a residential care of some kind, or they'd have to try and maneuver things on their own.
You also need to be able to cook well and clean well. You need to be able to track blood sugars and take blood pressure. And both of the people I've taken care of had very complicated medical histories, and so you have to be able to understand and track what's important.
We do deal with a lot of things that that wear on you emotionally, wear on you physically, sometimes wear on you mentally, because of the things that we have to deal with. People with cognitive issues, people who can't take care of themselves physically, so we have to physically do things for them.
If people knew how much service you provide to the person that goes beyond just cooking for them and cleaning their house, providing emotional support, psychological support, someone who, is smart enough to know that they're an equal citizen with equal rights.
If I'm taking care of somebody who has memory issues, I'm the one who I'm the one who books the doctor's appointments, I'm the one who books the dentist appointments, I'm the one who gets them to PT, I'm the one who fills the med box, makes sure that they get their meds every day. And I know people know that we do some of that, but I don't think they know that sometimes we go in and we are the organization that makes the whole place run.
If I were to give a military analogy of what it's like to be a home care worker, I would say that we are dropped behind enemy lines without proper training, no briefing, no escape maps, few rations, and asked to perform the nearly impossible.
There was a system that was set up called the Client Employed Provider Program, which was a sleight of hand where the state said, oh, we're not the employer, the client is the employer, which I found to be really sort of a strange situation because, you know, the check came from the state.
And you'll hear this a lot, right, that who's the boss for home care workers it's a complicated kind of equation, but a big piece of that is who determines the budget and what kind of money is available for workers to come in and bargain around.
We didn't have any kind of insurance. We didn't have we didn't have workers' comp. We didn't have the taxes taken out. We didn't have any kind of training at the time. There was no orientations or anything at the time. And so consequently, we had pretty much nothing.
The state paid very poorly. It was minimum wage work. There were no benefits. I refer to it as the state sweatshop on wheels because it was really exploiting workers and they were doing terrific work in helping people stay living at home.
Oregon was the first state in the United States to get a Medicaid waiver to do community-based care, home care. And it was an experiment to begin with. And, you know, when it first started, what a great idea. People want to stay in their homes. That's where their quality of life is. But they developed the whole program on the backs of the workers.
Legislation, generally speaking, and then laws that follow are not very inspiring to read. But ORS 410 is really, we've sometimes described it as the holy grail about the way in which we think about seniors and people with disabilities, their independence, dignity, and choice. And what was embedded in that legislation was the way in which we could bring the area agencies on aging that were willing to do so, bring them up to speed by having Older Americans Act programs, Oregon Project Independence programs, and Medicaid food stamps and eligibility programs operate seamlessly together.
Now there is some personal support trainings for personal support workers through the Home Care Commission that's been brought about because of SEIU.
In 2010, with the passage of House Bill 3618, the Home Care Commission's purview was expanded, and that now includes individuals who are experiencing intellectual and developmental disabilities, and that includes the families as well, and the workers that provide that service, which are called personal support workers.
Care providing is real work and should be valued and paid in that way, I think is kind of the theme we've been building on for the last 17 years. And a piece of that is making sure that we're creating the structures that professionalize the workforce and create a career path for people who want to stay in this work.
Вот тут митинги проводят, учебу мы ходим на занятия, классы.
Union, of course, going and being invited to all these meetings, to classes they have us to go through training. It really helps. Well, first, I didn't even know how to do the tasks right way. Yes, it was written, but it's much more, you understand much more when it's demonstrated or told in person.
Their cause was so righteous because they saw how their clients suffered, and you talk to any home care worker, their primary concern is their client.
Some of our sayings in the beginning was bring dignity home and invisible no more. And I really, really got that because I did feel like I was invisible.
The way politicians work a lot of times is if one person goes and says something needs to be changed, Okay, well, think about it. But if a sea of purple shows up and says, we really think you should fund this program, it's sort of hard to ignore, you know, the sea of purple looking at you going, yes, we think it's important.
It was an amazing campaign. We got the list, we organized. It was like organizing in the sand because the turnover rate was like 100%.
I was told they were cutting spousal pay, and I said, you mean I'm out of the game? And the union, they located us, gathered us up, organized us, and we wrote letters, we called, we showed up at the Capitol at the emergency board hearing, and the senators at the last moment backed down and restored our funding. The power to together make a difference. You know, home care workers, us. F-E-I-U, F-E-I-U, F-E-I-U.
When we have a voice and we have input on the job, that we can make a difference in our consumers' lives, because nobody knows, nobody's in the home and sees what happens for our consumers like we do, or understand what home care workers need to do the job effectively like we do.
If it hadn't been for the union, you know, kind of coming in and helping us through a lot of this home care, we wouldn't have never had as many members, not as many people that's doing home care, because the state kept saying, you know, we was just indentured servants.
Having a strong union is really the key for them to be able to be effective advocates for their own lives and for the lives of their clients. And I think we have some really good leaders and I think our staff is amazing at, you know, holding it all together. But it's not easy.
I became a union member before home care became a union. I helped create the union. I was on that team, and a bunch of great people were on that team. And Karen Thompson was the leader of the pack.
Karen really understood the importance of standing together, and she was a true leader.
Always had time to take care of home care stuff, plus taking care of her husband. She ended up getting some stomach issues and found out that she had cancer. I believe it was cervical, and didn't have the home care health set up yet, and so it was too late for her, and we lost her during our second contract.
She gave up her life really for home care workers to have health insurance, and she was so proud of the work that we did together.
We here in Oregon are very excited about passing a ballot measure that created an employer for the home care workers here, which will allow them to actually sit down and collectively bargain a contract, benefits such as increased wages, but also health care benefits.
And I pledge to keep working with your leadership to bring organizing rights and benefits to our health care workers in this state.
I've always been proud to say that home care workers in Oregon are the only workforce in the nation that have a constitutional right to have a union. I think that's pretty amazing.
A home care worker before the union came along, if they hurt their back lifting a client, they were just SOL. Nobody was going to help them. They had no insurance, and workman's comp wasn't going to cover anything for them. Now, however, you know, they get the same access to workman's comp that every other worker does.
The union actually gave them a structure that they could meet each other, that they could have forums to be able to talk amongst themselves, and also to exert some political power.
By people bonding together and talking about the work that they were doing and the inherent dignity of the work and the fact that they were doing something that was beneficial for society. You could see it on the faces of the people there. You could hear it in their conversations.
And so when we meet, there are people from all across the state who felt energized about keeping a solid union and keeping the ranks of the home care worker strong enough to make a vote or decision in the Capitol about how we're going to take care of disabled people in the future and what part we take in it.
That's the work we do as a union, is workers make sure that they're there, educating their legislators about the importance of funding services.
It's given us a route to help improve our consumers' life. When we go and lobby at the Capitol, we're lobbying for more money in the budget, but it's not just for paying us, it's also for supplying their services.
When you center everything around the client, when you say everything we're doing here is to strengthen our long-term care system and to shine a light on the fact that we have an aging baby boomer population who's rolling into this, what are we going to do to prepare for that tsunami?
Some clients actually want to be involved with the union, and there are several clients who have participated in our lobbying efforts and have actually gone with us up to Salem to lobby legislators, partly making comments on their own behalf and their own funding, but also for the staff that are there with them.
I don't just advocate for me, I also advocate for my clients. And it's, getting to go up there and talk to lawmakers and say, what we do is important, yes, you need to fund it, and giving them stories. Like one of the best stories I ever heard is a friend of mine from Reedsport took her client with her, and he was asked, what does your home care worker mean to you? And he said, it means I get to keep my feet.
I think what's really the most gratifying thing is knowing that you're helping someone where they can stay in their home and not be in a nursing home.
A caregiver is an extension of that person's inabilities. If they can't walk, you walk for them. If they can't see, you see for them.
I've known him since I was a child. When I moved back here to Portland, I happened to move right down the block from him. So when he started asking me to read some letters for him that he got in the mail and stuff, and it developed into a working relationship.
I'm not happy with Coco.
You're not happy with Croker?
No.
He's a large advocate in town, and so I do a lot of his speech writing and a lot of his emails. I transport him to the meetings and then interpret for him at the meetings. And through him, I've met a lot of very interesting people that I never would have expected to meet had I not met Letty first.
My favorite kind of people are the kind of people who care about other people, who really go out of their way to demonstrate that they care about others. And home care workers, and especially the ones that I've been involved with in the union, are that kind of person.
I've done this care myself with my mom, and you're the lifeline for this person who's trying to live out the rest of their lives as independently as they can.
Caregivers play an important role in my life. With their services and support, I am able to remain in my home and to function within the community.
In a day,
you may have to rearrange everything else on your schedule or your objectives because of something that came up in the care that was important to be addressed for my son in this case. It's also a very rewarding experience because he and I had an even greater bond, and I didn't think that could happen.
Una persona con disabilidad es un ser humano, ¿no? Entonces tratarlo como ser humano nada más. Y el mundo es así, estamos aquí, las personas que tienen hijos o familia con alguna disabilidad, pues invitarlos a trabajar, simplemente trabajar, darles el tiempo, pero que sea el tiempo, ¿cómo se dice? El tiempo de calidad, no de cantidad, ¿no?
You gotta have patience, you gotta care about people. That's the part. You gotta be real patient because your clients are old and they have a lot of medical problems. Some of them doesn't have family and some do have family. And when you're there, you are like one of their families because you are in their private space.
People need choice. Even 98 years old, you don't push them. You ask them what they need. I always listen to them first because no matter what they agree or not, he's a human being. We respect. We take care of him as a patient. You don't need to push them around, no matter how you think. That's respect and then mutual agreement is very important.
That person is relying on you for the quality of their life. And I have always said there's no higher honor than serving someone else and caring for someone else, either at the beginning of their life or at the end of their life. And the way we treat our elderly is a really reflection on who we are.
You have to have compassion. You have to like people. If you can do what I do and remain totally disconnected and uninvolved with the person you're doing it with, then you will, in my opinion, you should not be doing it. You have to care for them.
My husband often says to me, "What if you had given up?" And I think of how far we've come with our union. We have health care for these workers now. We have paid trainings. We have policy change. We have camaraderie. We have so many, we have community.
Union membership probably, by and large, is the best thing that's happened to the home care workers' occupation because it gives it an identity. It gives it a specific space. You can now put it as an occupational choice.
Because of the union coming in and fighting for the hours that we deserve, I'm working 14 or 18 hours a day and I was getting paid for 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. So they're fighting for our medical. I can go to the dentist. I mean, I can get paid for the work that I've done for 20 years.
We're united as one. You know, it takes more than just one person to get things done, to share and that passion across the community. And we have a lot more disabled people out there than we do caregivers, or the appropriate caregivers, that are given that unconditional passion from their heart and really want to see something out of their care.
One of the things that was very encouraging to me is that my union, even while considering helping us, actually listened.
They've given me encouragement to be a leader where I can, I'm a voice. I'm a voice for my clients. I'm a voice for my home care workers. It's helped me grow.
So the union really just kind of brought me out and made me be able to express myself and talk about things that are really important,
As a society, we have a reason to be proud of this workforce. And so we're not going back. We're never going to be invisible again. And we're going to assert our right to be a part of a legitimate workforce.
If I'm not in SEIU purple, I wear purple.
And what does that say? I mean, what?
That just says that we're here and we're strong and I'm proud.
Oh, we all show up in purple. It's like, oh my God, SE's in the house, and they're go hide in their closet.
We are the union, the mighty, mighty union, fighting for justice.